The death of sincerity and the tyranny of the second screen. How modern media manipulates our attention. In an age where screens dominate our lives, the nature of entertainment and information has undergone a seismic shift. The relentless pace of content production, driven by media conglomerates and social platforms, has reshaped how we consume stories, process emotions, and engage with the world. This article explores two interconnected phenomena: the erosion of sincerity in second-screen content, epitomized by the homogenization of entertainment, and the weaponization of negative emotions and extreme consumerism through social media to farm engagement on our primary screens. Together, these forces reveal a troubling reality. The media we consume is increasingly designed to exploit our attention rather than enrich our understanding. Part 1. Second-screen content and the death of sincerity. The frenzied pace of content creation. Once upon a time, storytelling was an art form that demanded patience, craft, and emotional resonance. Television shows like The Sopranos or films like Schindler's List carried weight, inviting viewers to sit with complex characters and morally ambiguous narratives. These stories trusted their audiences to think, feel, and reflect, without spoon-feeding every detail. Today, however, the landscape of entertainment feels like a factory assembly line, churning out content at breakneck speed to keep up with the insatiable demands of streaming platforms, social media, and the ever-distracted consumer. The rise of the second screen, the smartphone or tablet we glance at while watching TV, has fundamentally altered how media is produced. Content creators now assume that viewers are only half paying attention, their eyes flitting between a Netflix series and a TikTok feed. This assumption has birthed a new kind of storytelling, one that prioritizes loud, repetitive, and overly explicit narratives over subtlety or depth. Exposition is no longer a tool, it's a crutch. Consider the modern superhero blockbuster, where characters narrate their motivations in clunky dialogue. "I'm doing this because my parents died," or where every plot twist is telegraphed with heavy-handed foreshadowing. The result? Stories that feel like they're shouting at us, desperate to hold our fleeting attention. A poignant example of this shift can be found in the video game Need for Speed Payback, 2017, often cited as one of the most divisive entries in the Need for Speed franchise. The game's narrative, a predictable tale of betrayal and revenge, leans heavily on cinematic cutscenes packed with expository dialogue and exaggerated character archetypes. Where earlier games in the series, like Need for Speed Underground 2 2004, let players immerse themselves in a gritty street racing subculture through gameplay and atmosphere, Payback feels like a Hollywood blockbuster wannabe, prioritizing flash over substance. Fans criticized its story for lacking sincerity, with dialogue that seemed written for an audience assumed to be scrolling through X instead of engaging with the game. This is second-screen storytelling at its worst. A homogenized product that assumes we're too distracted to care about nuance. The homogenization of emotion, the death of sincerity in entertainment, isn't just about over-explanation. It's about the flattening of emotional stakes. Modern media often gravitates toward two extremes: the formulaic underdog story or the inconsequential tragedy. The underdog narrative, think of every sports movie, where a ragtag team overcomes insurmountable odds, has become a tired template, recycled across genres to elicit predictable emotional responses. These stories rarely challenge viewers to grapple with moral complexity or uncomfortable truths. Instead, they offer safe, feel-good resolutions that demand little intellectual investment. Similarly, tragedies in modern media often feel weightless. Take, for instance, the glut of dystopian young adult adaptations like the Divergent series. These films present apocalyptic stakes, oppressive regimes, societal collapse, but the emotional fallout is undercut by glossy visuals, rushed pacing, and a reliance on tropes like The Chosen One. The result is a tragedy that feels more like a plot device than a profound commentary on human suffering. Compare this to a film like The Road, 2009, which lingers on the quiet despair of a father and son in a post-apocalyptic world. The Road trusts its audience to feel the weight of loss without spelling it out. Modern blockbusters, by contrast, seem afraid to let silence speak. This homogenization extends to television, where streaming giants like Netflix and Amazon churn out content designed to be binged rather than savored. Shows like The Witcher or Bridgerton prioritize spectacle, lavish costumes, CGI monsters, and steamy romance over character development or thematic depth. The assumption is that viewers, distracted by their second screens, won't notice or care about the lack of substance. Even critically acclaimed series aren't immune. Stranger Things, for all its nostalgic charm, often leans on repetitive character arcs and heavy-handed callbacks to 1980s pop culture, as if afraid to trust audiences with anything less familiar. The cost of treating audiences like idiots. The most insidious consequence of this trend is the implicit assumption that audiences are idiots. Media houses, aware of the second screen phenomenon, design content to be consumed passively, with little expectation of active engagement. This is evident in the rise of recap culture, where shows begin each episode with a lengthy previously on segment or pepper dialogue, with reminders of past events. It's as if creators believe we can't hold a story in our heads for more than a week. This condescension erodes the trust between storyteller and audience, reducing art to a transactional exchange of stimuli. The cost of this approach is the death of sincerity. When every story is engineered to grab attention rather than inspire reflection, we lose the ability to connect deeply with narratives. Entertainment becomes disposable, like a TikTok video that fades from memory the moment we swipe to the next one. This is a tragedy not just for art but for our collective emotional intelligence. Stories have always been a way to process the human experience: love, loss, hope, fear. But when they're stripped of sincerity, they become mere distractions, leaving us numb to the very emotions they're meant to evoke. A call for reclamation. Reclaiming sincerity in entertainment requires a cultural shift. Creators must trust audiences to pay attention, even in a world of second screens. Independent filmmakers and game developers offer a glimmer of hope. Projects like Disco Elysium, a narrative-driven video game, reject the assumption of a distracted audience, offering a richly layered story that rewards close engagement. Similarly, films like Parasite, 2019, demonstrate that audiences are hungry for stories that challenge, provoke, and linger. These works prove that sincerity isn't dead, it's just been drowned out by the noise of homogenized content. As consumers, we can demand better by curating our media diets, supporting creators who prioritize depth over distraction, and resisting the pull of the second screen. Only then can we rediscover the power of stories to move us, challenge us, and remind us what it means to be human. Part 2. Negative emotions and extreme consumerism on the primary screen. The algorithmic assault on our psyches. If the second screen has killed sincerity in entertainment, the primary screen, our smartphones, laptops, and tablets, has become a battleground for our emotions and wallets. Social media platforms like X, Instagram, and TikTok are engineered to keep us scrolling, and they do so by exploiting our deepest insecurities and amplifying negative emotions. The result is a digital ecosystem that thrives on outrage, envy, and unattainable aspirations, all in the service of engagement and profit. The modern news cycle is a prime example of this manipulation. Headlines are crafted to feel like personal attacks, designed to provoke fear, anger, or indignation. Consider the coverage of polarizing issues like climate change or political elections. A 2024 X post from a major news outlet might scream, "Why your future is at stake in this election." A deliberate tactic to make the issue feel urgent and personal, regardless of its actual impact on the individual reader. This isn't journalism, it's emotional blackmail, designed to keep us clicking and sharing. The strategy extends beyond news. Social media feeds are curated to highlight content that triggers negative emotions, as studies show that anger and fear drive higher engagement than joy or contentment. A 2023 study by the Pew Research Center found that posts evoking outrage, whether about political scandals or social injustices, were shared and commented on at significantly higher rates than neutral or positive content. Platforms know this and optimize their algorithms accordingly, ensuring that our feeds are flooded with divisive rhetoric and sensationalized stories. The glamour trap and consumerist fantasies. Alongside this emotional manipulation, social media bombards us with images of unattainable glamour and beauty, preying on our insecurities to fuel consumerism. Influencers on Instagram or TikTok showcase flawless skin, luxurious vacations, and curated lifestyles, often with subtle, or not so subtle, plugs for products. A 2025 X thread might feature a fitness influencer promoting a $200 smoothie blender, captioned with, "Transform your body with this one simple trick." The message is clear: you're not good enough as you are, but buying this product will get you closer to perfection. This tactic isn't new, but its scale and precision are unprecedented. Algorithms analyze our likes, comments, and browse habits to serve hyper-targeted ads that exploit our personal vulnerabilities. A 2024 report by the Consumer Psychology Institute revealed that 68% of social media users felt pressured to purchase products after seeing targeted ads that aligned with their insecurities, such as weight loss supplements or anti-aging creams. The primary screen becomes a mirror reflecting our perceived flaws, with consumerism offered as the solution. The impact is profound, particularly on younger generations. A 2025 study by the American Psychological Association found that teenagers who spent more than 3 hours daily on social media reported higher levels of anxiety and lower self-esteem, directly linked to exposure to idealized body images and lifestyles. The primary screen doesn't just sell products, it sells a version of ourselves we can never attain, trapping us in a cycle of dissatisfaction and spending. The illusion of consequential engagement. Perhaps the most insidious tactic of social media is its ability to make us feel that our engagement is essential to some greater cause. Platforms encourage us to pick a side, whether it's a political movement, a social justice campaign, or even a fandom war, and frame our participation as a moral imperative. A 2025 X post might urge, If you don't speak out on issue, you're part of the problem. This language creates a false dichotomy, implying that our retweets or hashtags are pivotal to societal change. In reality, this engagement often serves the platform's interests, not ours. The 2024 X controversy over a celebrity's political tweet illustrates this perfectly. A single post sparked a firestorm of reactions, with millions of users weighing in, only for the issue to fade from relevance within days. The platform profited from the engagement, clicks, shares, and ad revenue, while the underlying issue remained unresolved. This is the misdirection the user described. Social media diverts our energy from meaningful action to performative outrage, keeping us tethered to our screens. The language of manipulation, the choice of words in social media content is no accident. Phrases like "you won't believe," "this changes everything," or "act now" are carefully crafted to trigger urgency and emotional investment. News outlets and influencers alike use hyperbolic language to make every story feel like a crisis, every product a necessity. A 2025 X post from a lifestyle brand might proclaim, "Your wardrobe needs this $500 jacket to slay the season." A subtle jab at our sense of style and status. This language doesn't inform, it manipulates, exploiting our fear of missing out or falling behind. The cumulative effect is a culture of distraction. While we're busy arguing over a politician's latest gaffe or coveting an influencer's curated life, we lose sight of what matters. Systemic issues like economic inequality or climate change, which require sustained, collective action rather than fleeting hashtags. Social media platforms thrive on this misdirection, ensuring that our attention remains fragmented and our wallets open. Breaking free from the primary screen. Escaping the manipulative grip of the primary screen requires intentionality. We can start by curating our feeds to prioritize substance over sensationalism, following creators who challenge rather than exploit, and muting accounts that thrive on outrage or consumerism. Digital literacy is also key. Understanding how algorithms work empowers us to question the content we are served. Finally, we must redirect our energy from performative engagement to real-world action, whether it's volunteering, donating, or having nuanced conversations offline. The primary screen is a powerful tool, but it's also a double-edged sword. By recognizing its tactics, emotional manipulation, consumerist pressure, and the illusion of consequence, we can reclaim agency over our attention and emotions, focusing on what truly matters. Conclusion: reclaiming our attention. The dual crises of second screen content and primary screen manipulation reveal a broader truth. Our attention is under siege. The death of sincerity in entertainment, driven by the assumption of a distracted audience, has robbed storytelling of its depth and power. Meanwhile, the primary screen exploits our emotions and insecurities, turning us into cogs in the engagement economy. Together, these forces create a world where we're bombarded with noise, but starved for meaning. Yet there is hope. By demanding better from creators, curating our media consumption, and prioritizing real-world impact over digital performance, we can reclaim the sincerity and agency that modern media seeks to erode. The challenge is ours: to turn off the second screen, see through the primary screen's illusions, and rediscover the stories, emotions, and actions that make us human.